Welcome. Scott here. I will be covering on the upcoming event, which is an Intersecting Wills event featuring the returning Machina from Final Fantasy Type 0. The event synergy units are Machina, Penelo, Zell, and Iroha. Machina FR will be making their debut. We will be fighting 2 Helldiver, which has 100 million HP each. Throughout the fight, the boss can switch modes. The turn requirement is 55. The HP requirements is 3000. Before I continue further, here is a small disclaimer clause for the video. The guide is written based on the time that the event was released for the Japanese version. Please do note that it is possible that the boss fight mechanics might differ when the actual event is released in global. Like most other Shinryu fights, the boss gains increased brave damage and gain resistances at the start of the fight and 79% HP threshold. Bringing a support like Lunafreya, Charlotta, Aerith, Ramza, Yuna, Iroha, Selfa that grants damage boosting aura will make your fight easier. As the boss gains substantial boost to their defenses with the auras, it is important to inflict debuffs that lower their defenses. On the screen I have listed down the key utility that you can consider when forming your party for this fight. As mentioned earlier, the boss will change modes depending the number of actions that your party take, and while in different stance it will have different kind of field effects which I will be covering in the later part of the guide. The fight features a heavy speed and turn rate down effects, and which means the boss is likely to take more turns unless you have freeze their force gauge with a force ability and nuke them off before they could act. Off-turn FR have become normalcy in the past 2 months, and they will show their value for this fight. Example of off-turn FR are Machina, Beatrix, Minwoo, Rydia, Ferris, Reno, Core, and Celis. At the start of the fight and 49% HP thresholds, the boss will activate a nasty -200% attack down aura, which will result your party have difficulty in breaking them unless you have strong attack or inflict heavy defense down debuffs on the boss. The easier method is bringing units with ignore defense utility, gravity, or instant break. Both Machina and Zell have ignoring defense utility in their kit, and Penelo has gravity brave shaving in her EX. Examples of ignore defense units are Lightning, Rains, Noel, Locke, Edgar, Cyan, and Sabin. For gravity units, examples that you can consider are Bartz, X-Death, Ultimecia, Maria, Ferris, and Selfa. For instant break units, you can consider Chaos, Strago, Noel, Trey, Gabrinth, and Ramza. As what they have done before, units with brave resistance ignore mechanics will shine with this fight. They are Kate Sith, Charlotta, and Setzer. Due to the boss could gains consecutive turns with the self-delay mechanic while the boss in flight, counter tanks excel in this fight along with off-turn FR. Pairing a counter tank along with a counter FR works wonders for the fight. The fight doesn't have any AoE HP attacks. The boss could inflict 2 frame debuffs with its wide-ranged shot attack. Debuff cleansing or evasion units will be useful. Generally, this fight is an easy one as long as you have the above-mentioned utility for the fight. JP players have soloed this fight with Beatrix or doing a duo run with Golub and Rydia. As we are no longer have Lufania Plus fights, the boss guide will be focused primarily on Shinryu fights. In Shinryu, you need to understand the effects gained by the boss as the force gauge build up, its force ability and its force time effect. If you don't bring any force chargers, it is highly certain that the boss force gauge will build up faster than yours. To have a better understanding on the basics of the force gauge mechanics and Shinryu fights, I have done a video explaining the mechanics. I have included the link to the video under the comments and video description for your quick reference. Throughout the fight, the boss will apply a speed down aura field that reduces your party speed by 80%. When the boss force gauge is equal or greater than 50%, your party turn rate will further be reduced by 50%. The boss force gauge will build up faster as its HP is lowered. You can refer to the table on the screen for the percentages. At the 100% threshold, the boss will use its force ability, Take a Defensive Posture. The boss force ability, Take a Defensive Posture, is a non-attacking ability. Upon trigger it, the boss will gain 50% boost to its speed and reduces all incoming Brave and HP attacks by 50%. The aura will last as long as its force time is active. Upon using the force ability, the boss will enter into its force time where the gauge will start to emit a red hue with a counter of 8 on its gauge. When the force time is activated, the boss turns will be framed where their turns cannot be delayed or turns be deleted. They will also apply a field effect which will reduces your party's turn rate by 50%. To deal the boss force weakness, you need to use melee FR with an instant turn. Other than Machina, the other FR that meet the condition are Machina, Ursula, Onion Knight, and Vayne. Upon dealing the boss force weakness, you will cancel the attack down aura. Now let's go through the fight key mechanics. The boss will apply an aura field called lowering party's attack at the following HP thresholds, start of the fight and 49% HP threshold. It was because of this aura, your party could be dealing ones on their brave hits. You can only remove the aura effect by dealing its force weakness. To handle the aura, you can bring ignore defense, gravity, or units with instant break to handle their brave. Controlling their brave and reduce your brave consumption also works, but they won't be as effective as the 3 utility that I have mentioned. Now let's go through the boss modes. The boss has 2 modes, airborne and grounded. It will starts off the fight in grounded. Throughout the fight, it will interchange between these 2 modes depending the following conditions. It will switch from grounded to airborne with rise plus after your party has taken 15 actions. Burst and summon phase are count as 1 action. Calls, AA and normal ability are counted as 1 action. It will switch from airborne to grounded with a light plus after the boss have taken 10 turns. While in grounded stance, it will gain a post-turn brave regen which equates to 30% of its max brave. While in airborne stance, your party member's subsequent turn will get delay by 2 after they act. Generally, the airborne mode is disruptive for nuking strategies. So ideally, you will want to prepare your force gauge fast enough before they going in airborne mode. Bringing a damage mitigation LDCA like Warrior of Light, 9, party evasion buff like Redia LDCA or inflict a damage mitigation debuff like Ragin LDCA or Reno LDCA will help a lot here. Alternatively, you can make use of the turn delay mechanic with off-turn FR and abuse your counters or traps trigger to let the boss kill themselves by taking too many actions. Let's go through briefly on the boss attacks. While it is in grounded mode, it has 2 basic attacks. Machine Gun Plus is a single target ranged brave plus HP attack. The boss will use this ability and start of the fight. Wide-ranged shot is an AoE brave attack that inflicts 2 frame debuffs -50% initial brave down and -50% max brave down. The debuffs last for 5 turns. While it is in airborne, it also has 2 basic attacks. Triple Missile is a single ranged brave plus HP attack. Like when it is in grounded mode, it can also use wide-ranged shot which have the same properties. If you can't lower its brave enough, it will use lunge for both modes. Before I end the guide, let's cover a bit on the featured FR unit. Ever since his burst release, Machina is used to be known as a damage nuker unit where you activate his BT finisher and enter into his burst phase and spamming his furious blades, burst, attack. With his FR, it helps to expand his flexibility and you can use him as an off-turn damage dealer unit. Let's briefly go through his force condition. 1. Use a melee ability will give 5% HP damage bonus and 25% if it is Machina. This also applies to off-turn attack that trigger from follow-up, counters or melee-based trap triggers. You can pair him with the melee-based counter tanks like Glove, Gladio, Orin, or 8. For off-turn follow-up attackers, you can pair him with Kor, Yang, and Dorgan. You can also support this FR condition with Sice and maintained his own spiral linchpin debuff from his LD. 2. Using a changed brave or HP attack will give your 40% HP damage bonus. 3. Using an ability with abnormal turn rate will give an additional 15% HP damage bonus. Machina has instant turn rate on his S1 and LD. His Furious Blades has high turn rate. His Furious Blades, Burst, has low turn rate. This condition also works with abilities that doesn't deal HP attacks like Lunafreya Call or any charging abilities. In general, Machina will gain 80% on his turn when he uses his Furious Blades. However, you can abuse his first condition with off-turn team setup before having him going a nuke phase with his burst phase. With this, I have come to the end of my boss guide presentation. Hopefully you find it useful. If you like the video, please give a like. Please subscribe to my channel for future gaming content. Good luck for the fight in the coming days. Bye.